No one wakes up and decides to ruin their own life. But somewhere between the pressure, the fear, the constant distractions, and the overwhelming need to feel something, anything, you started letting yourself slip. Not all at once, not in some dramatic collapse, but in small, almost invisible ways. You hit snooze once, then twice. You scrolled for 10 minutes before bed, then an hour. You told yourself you'd start Monday, but that Monday never came. And what's wild, nobody around you noticed. Because they're doing the exact same thing. The world today doesn't punish laziness. It enables it. You can spend hours watching someone else live their dream, and no one calls you out for it. You can scroll through millions of lives without facing the mirror once. And so we live trapped in a silent lie that someday things will click, that one day motivation will show up, that without changing a damn thing, life will magically change for us. Let me be real with you. Be real with discipline isn't some inspirational buzzword. It's not about building a morning routine or reading 10 self-help books. It's war. It's a quiet, personal war against every part of you that's addicted to comfort. And if you don't fight back, comfort will eat you alive. Let me tell you something I've never said out loud. Years ago, I used to be the most motivated person on paper. I read the books. I followed the right pages. I saved the quotes. But behind closed doors, I was a ghost of who I could have been. I'd scroll for hours, promising myself that next week I'd start fresh. I would make lists of things to do just to feel productive, and then do none of them. I would cry in the shower after realizing another week had passed, and I was still stuck, and no one knew. Because I knew how to wear a smile, how to be fine, how to pretend like I had a plan. But deep down, I hated myself for one thing more than anything. I knew I was capable of more, and I was doing nothing about it. It's a unique kind of pain, being haunted not by your past, but by the future you're wasting. You don't need another reminder that life is short. You've heard that before. What you need is a wake-up call, that if you don't choose discipline, then you are the one stealing your own future. No more blaming the system. No more waiting for the right time. No more numbing the pain with distractions. This is your crossroad moment. The uncomfortable truth is this. Discipline doesn't show up when you feel ready. It shows up when you decide you're done living beneath your potential. The version of you that you secretly dream about, the one who's strong, calm, focused, respected, and deeply fulfilled, they're not that far away, but they require a sacrifice. Your excuses, your comfort, your old identity, because let's be honest, if being undisciplined didn't hurt you, you wouldn't be here right now watching this. You're here because something in you is still alive, still desperate to break free, still begging for more. Not for perfection, not for some Instagrammable lifestyle, but for you. To look in the mirror and finally say, I'm proud of who I've become. But that pride, that power, it's not handed out, it's earned. Day by day through discipline. And no, it's not easy. You'll have days when your body says, stay in bed, and your soul has to scream, get up. You'll have nights when you're tempted to break your promise to yourself, and you'll have to remember that no one's coming to save you. You'll feel lonely, misunderstood, tired. But you'll also feel something you haven't felt in a long time. Respect for yourself. Real discipline is not about being strict. It's about being free. Free from self-doubt. Free from regret. Free from the version of you that only talks but never moves. But it starts with this moment. Right here, right now. Ask yourself, if I don't change now, then when? Because if you don't become disciplined with this video, if you can't let this truth punch you in the chest and wake something inside of you, then give up. Seriously, not on your life, not on your dreams, but on the fantasy that you'll magically wake up one day transformed without doing the work. That lie has wasted too many years already, and it won't give you anything but regret. This isn't about hustle culture or toxic productivity. This is about choosing to fight for your future, even when no one's clapping, even when no one sees, even when it's the last thing you feel like doing. Because here's the truth. The pain of discipline is temporary. The pain of regret, that sticks with you for the rest of your life, and you already know what that feels like. There's this lie people love to repeat. Go easy on yourself. You're doing the best you can. It sounds kind. It sounds gentle. But for a lot of us, it's killing us slowly. You're not doing the best you can. You're doing the most comfortable thing you can. And that's a dangerous difference. When you were a child, someone told you what to do, when to eat, when to sleep, when to study. But now it's just you versus your impulses. And the scariest part? Most people lose that battle every single day. Let me take you back to the moment I realized this truth. It was a cold Tuesday morning. I had missed another important call. I slept through it, again, not because I was exhausted, but because the night before, I'd convinced myself that rest is self-care, while I binge-watched videos I'd never remember. When I woke up and saw the missed call, the excuse hit my brain like a reflex. I needed the rest. But right behind it, another voice came. A quieter one I had silenced for years. It whispered, "You don't need rest. You need discipline. You're not tired, you're undisciplined." And it hit me in the chest. We live in a world that's turned self-love into softness, as if the kindest thing you can do for yourself is let things slide. But here's the truth no one wants to admit. Sometimes love looks like discipline. Real love isn't letting yourself off the hook. Real love is holding yourself accountable, especially when no one else will. You wouldn't let your child skip school because they don't feel like it. You wouldn't let your best friend stay in bed for a week because life is hard. So why do you let yourself? Because it's easier to be kind than it is to be brutally honest. But brutal honesty is how transformation starts. So let's be brutally honest together. You don't need more motivation. You don't need a 5-step morning routine. You need to build a spine. You need to become the kind of person who does what they said they'd do, especially when they don't feel like it. And here's the twist no one tells you. The more you choose discipline, the more peace you feel. Let me repeat that. Discipline brings peace. Not anxiety, not stress, but peace. The kind that comes from knowing you're not betraying yourself anymore. Because that's what undisciplined living is. A constant betrayal of the person you want to be. Every time you choose the distraction over the goal, the pleasure over the plan, the excuse over the truth, you're telling yourself that you're not worth the fight. But you are. You are worth getting uncomfortable for. You are worth doing hard things for. You are worth building discipline for. And if nobody's ever told you that before, hear it now, from me. You are not lazy. You are not broken. You've just been lied to about what self-love really looks like. It's not bubble baths and skipping workouts because mental health. It's not quitting on goals because you're overwhelmed. It's not calling yourself a perfectionist to avoid starting. Sometimes self-love is telling yourself, I'm not quitting, no matter how I feel today. I'm showing up even if it's ugly and slow. I'm choosing discipline because I deserve the life that comes with it. You ever notice how proud you feel after you keep a promise to yourself? Even a small one? That's not a coincidence. That's your soul saying, this is who I really am. But every time you break that promise, when you lie to yourself and say, I'll start tomorrow, or I deserve this break, or I've been through a lot, you lose a piece of yourself. That's why most people feel so empty. Not because life is too hard, but because they keep abandoning themselves in small, quiet ways. You want confidence? Keep your word. You want peace? Build discipline. You want power? Become the kind of person who does the hard thing without needing applause for it. No one claps for you when you delete the app. No one celebrates when you go to bed early instead of scrolling. No one congratulates you for eating clean or showing up when it's hard. But you will know. And that's what changes everything. That's where the transformation starts, not with external validation, but internal respect. Here's something you'll rarely hear. You will never fully love yourself until you become disciplined with yourself. Because deep down, you know when you're lying. You know when you're playing small. You know when you're choosing ease over excellence. And every time you do, it chips away at your self-worth. Not because you're failing, but because you know you could be doing better, and you're not. So today, we flip the script. Today, we stop calling softness healing and avoidance self-care. Today, we start loving ourselves enough to build the kind of life we don't need to escape from. And it starts with this one truth. Discipline is love in action. It's self-respect in motion. It's how you prove to yourself every day that you are worth it. So tell me, are you finally ready to stop breaking your own heart? Because no one's coming, no one's checking, no one's forcing. It's just you. And that means the choice is all yours. You know what no one tells you about hitting rock bottom? It's not loud. It doesn't always come with a breakdown, a lost job, or a dramatic spiral. Sometimes, rock bottom looks like nothing. Just another ordinary day. You wake up, scroll your phone, eat something easy, avoid that one thing you said you'd do, and tell yourself, tomorrow. That's it. And you don't realize it, but you've already surrendered. Not with a scream, not with a breakdown, but with a sigh. That's the scariest kind of failure. The silent kind. The one no one can see but you. Let me tell you a story I haven't shared before. There was a point in my life where I lost everything. Not in the dramatic way you might expect. I didn't go bankrupt. I didn't lose a loved one. I didn't end up on the street. What I lost was my edge, my fire. That thing inside me that used to fight back. I stopped caring about goals. I stopped keeping promises to myself. I stopped doing anything that made me uncomfortable. And at first, I called it rest. Then I called it healing. Then I just stopped calling it anything. I started floating through life, smiling on the outside, dying on the inside. I remember one afternoon sitting in my room with the curtains drawn, pizza crusts on the floor, my phone at 2%. And I wasn't even sad. I wasn't angry. I wasn't anything, just numb. That's when it hit me. This is what rock bottom really is. Not the moment when everything falls apart, but when nothing matters anymore. When your standards collapse quietly. When your self-respect drips away in unnoticed moments. When you get used to the feeling of being disappointed in yourself. And if you're reading this, watching this, hearing this, chances are you know exactly what I'm talking about. That slow erosion of your identity. You weren't always like this. You used to believe in something. You used to dream. You used to say, one day I'll be... Now you say, maybe someday if things work out. What happened? I'll tell you. You started breaking promises to yourself and calling it realistic. You started playing it safe and calling it being mature. You started avoiding risk and calling it protecting your peace. But here's the real truth. You stopped being disciplined, and your life followed. Discipline is the anchor of identity. Without it, you start drifting. Not just in your habits, but in your soul. You start settling for relationships that drain you, jobs that numb you, friends who don't challenge you, environments that don't reflect your values. And then one day, you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back. Not because you failed, but because you stopped trying. Listen to me. You were not born to play small. You were not put on this earth to just get by. You were not meant to wake up every day wondering where your energy went. You were built for more. But you have to fight for it. You have to earn it. And you earn it through discipline, not once, not twice, but daily, brick by brick, promise by promise, habit by habit, until you rebuild the respect you once had for yourself. You don't need a massive life change today. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start keeping your word again. Wake up when you said you would. Finish the task you've been avoiding. Go on that walk. Turn off the phone. Say no to the easy escape. Because every time you do, you take back a piece of yourself. And every time you don't, you reinforce the idea that this is all you deserve. Let me ask you something real. Are you proud of the way you've been showing up for yourself lately? Don't answer out loud. Just sit with it. Because if the answer is no, then good. That means you still care. That means something inside you is still alive. But that spark, that light you still have, it needs fuel. And that fuel is discipline. You want your fire back? Then show up even when you feel empty, especially then. You're not weak because you slipped. You're not broken because you've been stuck. But you will stay broken if you keep waiting to feel ready. Let me be blunt. If you wait to feel motivated before you act, you'll die waiting. Motivation is a gift. Discipline is a decision. Rock bottom is not the end. It's the place where you decide if you'll bury yourself deeper or start climbing out. And climbing doesn't look sexy. It's not aesthetic. It's not something you can post. It looks like pain, sweat, repetition, silence. It looks like saying no to things that feel good but destroy you. It looks like failing, getting back up, failing again, and still choosing to rise. And eventually, it looks like freedom. Not because life suddenly got easy, but because you finally stopped betraying yourself. People think fear is the enemy. They think what's holding them back is a lack of confidence, or some deep-rooted insecurity or trauma from their past. And while those are real, they're not the real enemy. The real enemy is comfort. Comfort is quiet. It's gentle. It pretends to be your friend. It whispers, "You've been working hard. You deserve a break." You don't need to push today. You need balance. You've been through a lot. Just take it easy. But here's the trap. Comfort doesn't care about your growth. It cares about your safety. And safety isn't the same thing as fulfillment. I'll never forget a night when I stayed up late watching a video of someone else living the exact life I once dreamed of. He was doing the work I wanted to do, living in the place I wanted to live, speaking with a confidence I used to crave, and for a moment I actually felt good watching him, motivated, inspired, hopeful. But then it hit me like a slap in the face. I was high on someone else's discipline. You have to confront the version of yourself that wants to stay soft. You have to challenge the thoughts that tell you, this is good enough. You have to go to war with the part of your mind that's afraid to suffer. Because here's the raw, brutal truth no one says out loud. You will suffer either way. You either suffer now through discipline, or you suffer later through regret. There is no life without suffering. There's just the kind you choose. Discipline is painful. But it's the pain that builds something. It's the pain that creates, that sharpens, that frees you. Regret is also painful, but it rots, it eats, it corrodes your spirit. It shows up in the moments where you could have done better, but didn't. Let me tell you about a friend of mine. We grew up chasing the same dreams. He was smarter than me, more talented. People loved him. But somewhere along the way, he got comfortable. He found a decent job, started earning decent money, and slowly the edge wore off. We caught up years later, and he told me, I don't hate my life, but I hate that I settled for it. He didn't fail. He coasted. And coasting is the most respectable form of giving up. You wear a tie, pay your bills, smile at the office, and quietly drown in dreams you left behind. That's what comfort does. It doesn't scream, it seduces, it makes you forget the fire you used to have, it replaces risk with routines. And routines become cages. Listen to me. You were not designed to live inside a comfort zone. You were meant to stretch, to struggle, to grow. Think about it. Every powerful version of you lives just outside your current comfort zone, not in another city, not with more money, not after more time. Just outside the habits you refuse to break. If you want to meet that version of you, the one you keep picturing, you have to leave where you are. That means waking up earlier. That means saying no more often. That means deleting apps, cutting off distractions, canceling empty habits, and doing the hard things that no one claps for. It's ugly. It's uncomfortable. But it's how you get free. People always say, "I'm just trying to find myself." But that's not how it works. You don't find yourself. You build yourself, one disciplined choice at a time. Comfort won't build you. Comfort won't challenge you. Comfort won't hand you the life you keep dreaming about. Discipline will. But only if you're willing to give up the lie that staying the same is good enough. It's not. It never was. You know it. I know it. And the longer you stay where it's safe, the further you get from where you're meant to be. So let me ask you, are you done being addicted to comfort? Are you ready to stop betraying the future for the sake of the present? Because your dreams, they don't live in your current routine. They live in discomfort. They live in the 5 a.m. alarms, the solo workouts, the lonely nights where you say no to things that everyone else says yes to. That's where your life begins. Not in more comfort, but in more courage, while sitting in the graveyard of my own. That moment messed me up. Because I realized I wasn't afraid to change. I was comfortable not changing. I was used to the low-grade pain of mediocrity, used to the numbness of maybe next time, used to the shame that comes after a day of wasted time, so used to it, it stopped hurting. And that's the most dangerous place to be, when failure becomes familiar, when disappointment becomes your normal, when you've sunk so deep into comfort, you forgot what drive even feels like. Let's be real. Comfort doesn't just kill ambition, it replaces it with guilt. You wake up late, scroll for 45 minutes, then feel guilty. You procrastinate all day, binge a show, then feel guilty. You eat what you said you wouldn't, skip the workout, avoid the work. And the guilt stacks like bricks on your back. But guilt doesn't change you, only action does. And action doesn't come from comfort, it comes from confrontation. Let's end this with something bold. Something you might not want to hear. If you still need motivation, you're not ready. Not ready for the life you keep fantasizing about. Not ready for real change. Not ready for success. Because real success, it's not built on motivation. It's built on days when you have none. It's built on moments when your body is exhausted, your mind is screaming for comfort, and your heart says, "We keep going anyway." This is the part of the video where most people drop off, where it gets too real, where they say, "That's too harsh," or "That's not fair," or "You don't understand my situation." But I do. I've lived it. I've been the one crying in a car because I couldn't face myself anymore. I've been the one breaking down at 2 a.m., wondering why I was so good at starting and so bad at finishing. I've been the one staring at a blank screen, knowing I had work to do and choosing Netflix anyway. And one day, I had to face the rawest, most gut-wrenching truth I've ever learned. No one's coming to save me. Not a coach, not a partner, not a YouTube video, not even this one. And the longer I waited for someone to drag me out of the mess I created, the deeper I sank into it. So let me say it again, louder this time. If you still need motivation, you are not ready. Motivation is a spark. Discipline is the fire you build when the spark dies out. And life only rewards the ones who learn to keep building the fire, without needing applause, without needing hype, without needing anything but a decision. You know what's crazy? People will spend more energy defending their limitations than building their future. They'll say things like, "I don't have time. I'm not wired that way. I've got too much on my plate. I'm just not disciplined like others." But deep down, you know the truth. You have time. You're just not using it wisely. You could be more disciplined, more. You've just been protecting your comfort more than your calling, and I know that sounds aggressive. But sometimes aggression is necessary to wake up a soul that's been asleep for too long. You weren't born to settle. You weren't born to binge mediocrity and drown in doubt. You weren't born to beg for motivation every time life gets hard. You were born to create, to overcome, to endure, to lead. But you have to earn that version of you through sacrifice, through discomfort, through relentless, boring, invisible, unsexy discipline. You think your problem is laziness. It's not. It's inconsistency. It's your addiction to emotion-driven action. You only move when you feel inspired. Only act when it feels exciting. Only show up when the stars align. But the person you dream of being, they show up anyway. They don't wait to feel like it. They act, especially when they don't. Because they know something you're about to learn right now. Discipline isn't punishment. It's preparation. Preparation for the life you say you want. Preparation for the love, the impact, the freedom, the version of you that doesn't flinch anymore. And if you're not willing to become disciplined right now, then give up. Not because you can't do it, but because if you're not willing to start now, then when? When it's easier? It won't be. When life slows down? It won't. When you feel ready? You never will. This video won't change your life, but your decision to act because of it? That will. Here's what I want you to do. Right now, drop a comment. Tell me the one thing you've been putting off. The one habit you know would change your life. The one promise you keep breaking to yourself. Write it out. Declare it. And I will read every single one. Not because I'm here to fix you, but because this is your moment to stop hiding. Let this comment be your line in the sand. No more waiting. No more hoping. No more excuses dressed up as reasons. From this moment on, if you're watching this, it's because you're ready to stop needing motivation like a drug and start building your future like a machine. And if you're not, if this was too much, if it made you uncomfortable, good. That means it hit the part of you that's been asleep. Wake it up. Shock it with discipline. Prove to yourself that you're not just another maybe someday person. Prove it with your actions. Prove it with your silence. Prove it when no one is watching. You don't need more content. You need to become someone who acts on what they already know. So here's your final challenge. Watch this video, get up, and move. Not tomorrow, not after another video. Now, and then tell me in the comments what you're doing differently starting today. I'll be waiting there, personally. Reading every story, every promise, every act of rebellion against the comfort that almost stole your life. You want to change? Discipline is how. Start today, or give up, or give. But don't lie to yourself anymore.